Welcome, fellow travelers of Arrakis. Today, I'm diving deep into my experience with the Dune Awakening beta. This isn't just a surface level review. I want to walk you through what pulled me in, what pushed me out, and where I think this game could go. Let's talk survival, sandworms, combat, and the fate of the spice. So, what I loved so far. First thing was the immersive atmosphere. One of the standout aspects of Dune Awakening is how alive the world feels. Yeah, the NPCs could use some work, but there is, some life to it. The sound design, visual scale of the desert, and small environmental storytelling details build a convincing picture of life on Arrakis. For example, when I was adventuring, I saw Muad'Dib, the little mouse, walking around, which is a super cool little thing, right? Even during the slower moments, I found myself pausing just to look around at the world. You get that sense of isolation and danger, just like you'd expect from the Dune universe. It doesn't feel like a set, it feels like a place, a world. Um, the team that have built this game, Funcom and whatnot, have done a pretty good job with capturing Arrakis, you know what I mean? I'm a huge Dune fan in terms of like the lore and whatnot, and loved the movies and all that. And it's nice to be able to play the game in an open world setting. The other thing I liked was the survival mechanics. The elements are genuinely intense in the best way. Managing hydration isn't just a number ticking down, it's a real threat you plan your routes around. Crafting still suits to survive the brutal sun, extracting water from enemies, and dodging deadly sandstorms gives every excursion an edge of your seat tension. It pulls you into the world and forces you to think like a Fremen would. The gameplay rewards caution, preparation, and adaptation. For example, moving to the second zone where the iron spawns and whatnot, you have to have a sand bike because you won't make the crossing unless you have that vehicle. It's very dangerous, right? The other thing I like is the promising PvE and PvP systems. Even in the beta, there's a clear foundation for a strong blend of PvE and PvP. The missions are challenging enough to keep you engaged. Yeah, they could be a little better, but it is the beta, and I can foresee them actually putting effort into this game, which I appreciate. And there's just enough enemy variety to make encounters unpredictable. PvP isn't fully live yet, but the idea of faction based conflict for spice territory has a ton of potential. I can see guilds forming, politics emerging, and whole servers shifting based on player driven control of resources. It's ambitious, and if balanced right, it could be genre defining. Now, there are some areas of improvement. I did have some issues with the game myself, and a lot of my friends that we played with did as well. We had a guild of a good amount of people testing this game, and we played through the entire beta. Everything that the beta had to offer, we did it. We got all the way to like the sand buggy, everything. The one thing that was the main gripe of my group was that melee combat needs refinement. There's It feels clunky. Targeting enemies is frustrating, especially in close quarters. The lack of a lock-on system really hurts the experience, turning what could be fluid, cinematic fights into something that feels floaty and imprecise. In a world with sword masters and high-stakes duels, that system needs to shine. Right now it doesn't. Adding a basic lock-on feature just for melee could change that drastically. The other issue that my group had was graphics and cutscene issues. It's a beta, we all understand that, and it's not perfect yet. It's great that they did a large scale beta because they're getting a lot more feedback, right? But there were moments in cutscenes where the models would pop in and out, animations would freeze, or textures would bug out completely. Like the ground for me on one of them was completely gone, people were floating. It's on my live stream on Twitch. Just look up my name if you want to go see it. It pulls you out of what should be major story like moments. I'm sure they'll clean it up by launch, but it's worth mentioning. The world looks great during gameplay, but those cutscenes hiccups need to be ironed out if the devs want to deliver an immersive cinematic story. Lastly, that my group kind of had a gripe for was the content feels a bit dry for now. I know it's early access and we don't have access to the full breadth of the game yet, but after several hours, the gameplay loop does start to feel a little bit dry. Quests tend to repeat, resource collection can feel like busy work, and some zones lack variety. Um, that said, the bones are strong with more dynamic events, more NPC interactions, and faction drama. This could become something truly addictive. Right now, though, it's still waiting to be filled out. Some things that I saw in community feedback highlights, beyond my own experience and kind of looking into the broader community, there was a few reoccurring points that stood out to me. Um, the player base as a whole has an issue with the combat flow. Many players agree that melee combat lacks weight and control. Some even noted hit registration issues. The other is technical instability, crashes related to shader compilation, FPS drops in hubs like Arrakis, and texture streaming problems are all being reported. PvP integration concerns is the next one. There's excitement for PvP, but also concern over how it might disrupt solo or PvE players if not balanced correctly. However, there is optimism for the lore. Most agree that the lore integration is excellent. The voice acting, environmental storytelling, and the divergence from the book timeline are all being praised. In conclusion, Dune Awakening is a game with a massive amount of potential. It nails the setting, atmosphere, and core mechanics. The survival and PvE elements are strong, and the PvP promises something truly unique to the genre. But the melee combat needs a serious overhaul. Technical polish is still missing, and the early content needs more spark. Still, I'm having fun with it. I love the game, and that's what matters, right? I'm enjoying it. My friends are enjoying it, and we are planning on building a very large faction on this game once it launches. So we enjoyed it, and we hope that these issues are polished out. Biggest thing is, please add a lock-on system for melee combat. Thanks for watching my review. If you enjoyed it or have your own experiences with the beta, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your take. This is just the beginning of our journey across Arrakis. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night or day or whatever it is for you.